Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm glad we're exploring innovation in the housing sector, but we should also know that we could see similar benefits by updating many of our existing federal housing programs. The National Low Income Housing Coalition's 2022 Out of Reach report showed just how hard it is for low-income renters to afford even modest housing. In my home state of New Jersey, a medium-income renter is barely able to pay for a one-bedroom home. The fact is that there aren't just enough rental homes being built. And part of that is because federal lending programs through HUD and the Federal Housing Administration haven't kept pace with the market. Dr. Schutz, isn't it true that even after adjustments for inflation and higher cost areas, FHA multifamily financing isn't a viable financing tool in many parts of the country?
I'm not an expert in the FHA multifamily program. I will say that it has been a real challenge to keep pace with sort of the housing costs are rising faster than inflation rates overall, and so that's been very challenging on the financing side. And it's certainly been an issue in the last couple of years as interest rates are going up. Builders trying to get private market financing are also paying more at all costs of the construction process.
Well, it seems to me that the current statutory limits pose a challenge to HUD and FHA meeting its mission to provide decent, safe, and affordable housing, which is why I introduced a discussion draft earlier this year that would modernize FHA's ability to finance multifamily housing construction around the country. It's a simple, common-sense proposal that would update FHA's lending ability to accurately reflect the increase in construction costs over the last 20 years. And I look forward to working with our colleagues to see if we can pass this into law and empower the FHA to better address the high cost of rent across the country. One of the ways we can reduce the pressure on the affordable rental housing supply is by making it easier for renting families to transition into ownership. This will free up rental units and allow families to begin building generational wealth. However, that transition is often difficult, especially for prospective home buyers of color. Mr. Good, could you talk about some of the challenges that your organization has helped prospective home buyers in New Jersey overcome?
Yes, Senator, thank you for that question. At Invest Newark, what we've done is we've partnered with the Newark Housing Authority and with the national organization NACA to address this issue and bridge the gap between those in rent-subsidized apartments who are looking to go into home ownership. This has been a great program. Everybody is very excited about it. And what we found is that there were tools already available through the federal government, through HUD, and there just needed to be the nexus point between Invest Newark and the nonprofit coaching and getting folks ready for home ownership that we found vitally important.
Mm-hmm. One key problem seems to me that all too often first-time home buyers are competing with institutional investors who can afford to purchase the home with cash. A study from the Rutgers Center on Law, Inequality, and Metropolitan Equity found that from 2017 to 2020, more than 47% of Newark's residential property was sold to corporate buyers rather than prospective homeowners. This also warps incentives for developers, compounding the supply issues. Mr. Good, how can we, in your experience, how can we incentivize developers to build properties that are affordable for low and moderate income families trying to become homeowners?
Yeah, so one of the ways that Invest Newark has done that is, time kills all deals. And we found that there have been a backlog of properties with the city of Newark. We've transitioned those to Invest Newark in an effort to expedite them into the market specifically to provide homeownership opportunities for potential homeowners who are earning less than 80% of AMI. The disparity between the homeownership rates, specifically in the South and West wards, really speak to that climate issue. And that is where you find preponderance of the properties that we are receiving from the city are coming from.
Okay, so last question. I'm sorry, did you want to finish?
No, Senator, I'm fine.
Okay, I appreciate that insight. Last question, if I may, Madam Chair. Affordable housing is increasingly located in areas that are far away from job centers, forcing workers to pay higher transportation costs or work fewer hours. Thankfully, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that passed the last Congress injected as much as $550 billion into reviving our nation's transportation system. That's a good start. But that's why I led the charge with my Livable Communities Act, which creates a federal grant program to incentivize the development of new affordable housing near existing mass transit. In a place like Newark, and this is true across the country, it's not just Newark, how critical is it that we can build affordable housing near public transit so that people can connect to good-paying jobs and careers?
Senator, this might be a uniquely interesting question for New Jersey. Everything is quite accessible to transit. Your legislation is going to be vitally important. There was just a report put out by Parking Reform where something about 26% of the central business district in Newark is covered with parking lots. And so to incentivize additional growth for affordable housing and housing development in transit village areas in and around train stations, bus stations as well, will go a great way to producing additional opportunity to incentivize developers to put the units as close to housing, employment, and transportation as possible.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for your insights. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Menendez. We now have